Okay, what's going on, everybody? My name is Mang, and today we're going to be talking about Splendor. Splendor came out this year, 2014, designed by Marc-Andre, and it was nominated for the Spiel des Jahres, which is pretty much the biggest award that a board game can win. It did not win, though. It lost to Camel Up, which is back there somewhere. I'll talk about it eventually. But we're going to talk about Splendor. It's for 2 to 4 players, and it leans a bit towards the lighter end of the spectrum rather than a heavier game. And it's kind of an engine-building game, you might say. The box is kind of large, but we'll see that there's not a whole lot going on in here, but let's take a look. Okay, so when we take the top of the box off, this is what we get. Yeah, I know. I'll talk about that later. But let's see here. We have the kind of cardboard noble tiles that look like this. See? We have the actual cards. Plenty of them. See? Mine are sleeved. Yours will not come sleeved. I don't think so. And then we have the poker chips, the actual gem or jewel tokens, whatever you want to call them. We have rubies, onyx, emeralds, diamonds, sapphires, and gold. That's everything. Okay. So, to set up the game, you're going to take this stack of cards, and there's 3 different types of cards. There's Tier 1 cards, which are green, and they have the 1 dot on the bottom. And mine are kind of mixed up here for some reason, but it's not a big deal for the purposes of demonstration. We have Tier 2 cards, which are gold. Have 2 dots on the bottom. And finally, Tier 3 cards, blue, 3 dots on the bottom. And you're going to kind of put them in a row like this, or a column, I guess. And you're going to flip over 3 of each. Into a setup looking very similar to this. Okay. Then you are going to shuffle the noble tiles, the cardboard ones. You're going to shuffle these up, and you're going to lay down a number of these equal to the number of players plus 1. So for a 2-player game, that is going to be 3. Okay? And that's it. That's set up. Now the game begins. And players are going to take turns. And on your turn, you can do 4 different things. You can only do one of them, but you have an option of 4 different things. You can take 2 of any one color of token. And you can only do that if there are at least 4 in the stack before you take the action. For a 2-player game, each stack only has 4 in it to begin with. So basically, for a 2-player game, you can only take 2 of a certain color if every one of the color is still in the stack. So that plays into the strategy. Another action you can do is you can take 1 of 3 different colors. So you can take a ruby, an emerald, and a diamond. And that is your turn. And you can do that no matter what, as long as there are, 1 there. I don't know the specific rule, or if there are only like 2 stacks left. So if there's only like a ruby and an emerald left, can you just take those 2? We played it as you could, but I don't know the official ruling. The third action you can do is you can reserve one of these 9 cards. So you just grab it and you hold on to it, and you get a gold token. And a gold token is a wild. It counts as anything, any of the other 5. And then the final action, which is the big one, is you can purchase one of the cards, including any cards you reserve. And how do you do this? Well, at the bottom of any one of these cards, in the lower left, there's going to be a color and a number. This one is 4 emeralds, but sometimes, it's going to be multiples. This one is 1 sapphire, 2 rubies, 2 onyxes, so on and so forth. And they go up. Tier 3 is, 6 diamonds, 3 sapphires, 3 onyx, so on and so forth. And you can spend your tokens that you've gathered to do this. So for the 4 emerald one, this one, if you had 4 emerald poker chips in your hand, then on that turn you could buy this, and you return the emerald ones to the bank. Boom, done. But some of these, there's not going to be enough chips around, especially in, say, a 2-player game. This one wants 6 onyxes. Well, guess what? There aren't 6 onyx tokens in the games. Aha! Thus comes the engine building. You see, in the upper left, no, that can't be right. Upper right, yes. Upper right of every card, there's going to be a gem symbol. This one's a diamond, and it's white. Well, no, that doesn't really apply to anything. Okay, this one, the emerald. See, here's an onyx, so on and so forth. All of the gem types are represented except for gold. You see, when you buy a card, you automatically get this gem applied on every one of your subsequent turns. So this is always going to apply as 1 diamond on every turn. So say you bought 5 of these cards. Every turn from now on, you would automatically have 5 diamonds to spend in whichever way you will. And so you're going to want to build up your engine by buying different types of gems to be able to purchase the higher end cards. Like the tier 3 card here wants 3 diamonds, 3 sapphires, 5 emeralds, and 3 rubies. Now, yeah, there's a way, and possibly you could pay for that card by spending a whole bunch of tokens and by buying them up and stacking them and so on and so forth. Or you can keep building your engine and getting, 3 of these cards in your deck and in your engine, and 5 of these, and 3 of these, and so on and so forth. And then, boom, you can just grab this without spending any poker chips. And that's pretty much it. That's how it's played. The nobles, they all pretty much look like this. And how these work is these numbers and colors on the left. Basically, once you have enough cards in your engine that equal this, these nobles come to pay you a visit, and you get to hold on to them. So once you have 3 onyx cards, 3 ruby cards, and 3 emerald cards in your engine, this guy will come to you and say, hey, I like what you got, and you hold on, you keep him prisoner. And he's worth 3 victory points. And so, these the nobles never refresh, by the way. The ones that are out at the start of the game, that's it for the whole game. So at the start of the game, you're going to be looking at what's out there on the table, you're going to be looking at the nobles, and you're going to be like, what's my plan? What's my strategy? Which cards do I want to go for? How do I want to build up my engine to get the right nobles? See, take these 2. These are kind of similar. They both require 3 onyx cards and 3 ruby cards. This one on your... I'm not even going to try. The one requires 3 emeralds, the other requires 3 diamonds. But they're pretty similar. So you might say, if I might focus on the 3 onyx and the 3 rubies and then see if I can snatch both of them. But then you also got to think about the other players and what they're going for, and you can see what they're kind of doing and see if you can block them by maybe reserving a card that they're gonna try and grab, and so on and so forth. And the numbers on the noble cards and at the top there of some of the cards are victory points. And so if you have those cards or noble cards in your collection, you have that many victory points. First player to get 15 wins. So a lot of the tier 1 cards are not worth any points. Nothing, blank, but so on and so forth. But pretty much all the tier 3 cards are worth either 3 or maybe 4 points. Maybe 5, I don't know, I haven't looked through many of them. Yeah, there's 5 in there. And so, you know, those are a big deal. So if you can try and snatch those up quickly, you know, 15 points is not a lot when you're picking up a card worth 5. Or you're picking up 2 nobles worth 6. And so, in a 2-player game especially, the end can kind of just suddenly just, boom, catch up on you, and you're not even thinking about it. You're still looking at, you know, the noble things, and boom, oh, I have 15 points. So, there are variants. You can raise that number if you want. You can raise it up to 21 points or something if you want a longer game. I found that in our 2-player games, we really don't spend much time with the tier 3. By the time we're able to buy the tier 3 cards, we're pretty much at 15 points. So it might be worth checking out a variant. But that's pretty much it. That's Splendor. And when you buy a card in any of these rows, you just flip over the next one and you keep going. And yeah, so I'm going to show you now a game that I played of Splendor with my mom. And, you know, she's a bit newer to board games than I am, but, you know, I don't even have that much experience, I guess. And so this is a 2-player game. I'm not going to show you the entire game because we didn't really focus on doing commentary or anything like that, but I just want to give you a gist of how it goes and how it plays. And then after the gameplay, we'll come back and I'll do a little review of my thoughts for you. So get ready for some gameplay.
I'll take 2 bet.
Take a white, a blue, a green.
Of course you did. To put this on reserve, what do I do?
You just grab it, and then I give you this. You hold it in your hand. You get that, that's a wild. Okay, I will take 2 black.
I will take a green, a red, and a blue.
Okay, I'm going to purchase this for 1 white, 1 blue, 1 green, 1 black.
This, and I'll take away
This, and this.
now I can purchase my one I've got, right?
Yes.
Oh,
you
I
can.
just need 1 blue,
You need 4 reds.
4 reds. Now what do I do?
You play that. That's your card. That's your turn.
That's my turn.
Okay, I've got the 2 blues, a white, a red, and a green. Let's grab this.
Can I get a visit if I have
Token or chips don't count.
chips don't count? You have to have them in the
You have
cards.
to have them in the cards.
Okay, I won't torture you with that for too long. I just want to give you a gist of how the game really plays between 2 people. And we were not really going for any... I mean, we weren't... I just put the camera on us and we just played how we normally played. And so for some games that the 2 of us play, there's quite a bit of back and forth going on and stuff like that. But some other games that we play, like this or Dominion, basically the only conversation that happens is us saying what we do on our turn. That's about it. And so when you record a game like this, that's kind of all it is. It's just I'm taking, you know, a red, a blue, and a green, or I'm going to spend, you know, a green, a blue. I have 2 whites, 4 reds. I'm going to take this card, and then it goes to the other person. They do the same thing. So I guess in one sense, you know, that's kind of a bummer, because, you know, a lot of fun from board games comes from all the discussion. But then another side is, well, you could pretty much just play this and have a normal conversation and just kind of, you could just sit there and have a conversation, or you could be doing this and kind of flexing your mind while you do it and, having a bit of fun from that as well. So it has its pros and cons, but it doesn't make for the greatest video. But I did want to show you some gameplay in action to see how it works. But yeah, it's basically just our hands moving in front of the camera and grabbing cards and tokens. And it also wasn't, I didn't have the greatest setup for the recording. There were things going on in the background, and I didn't set up the camera perfectly. I should have showed you the gem pile so you could see that and get a better view of our engines or whatever. But it wasn't ideal, but again, it's better than nothing. You get to see what it looks like. So then I will bring it back here at the end so you can see the result of this game. Keeping in mind, this is our third or fourth game that we've played, something like that, and I have won every game of Splendor between the two of us so far, and I'm doing okay in this game. But let us see how this game between us finishes.
I'm gonna play these 4 and those 3 and take that.
Take the win.
Yes!
Well, let me check the rules. Hold on. I want to see if there's an equal number of play rule. Yeah, each player has played the same number of turns.
Okay.
You played first.
Yes, I did. And I'm
Okay.
at 16, so what are you
So
going to pull off?
I get to spend this as a green, so that's 5 greens, 3 whites, 3 blues, 3 reds. And I get to play this. But I still think you win.
Because we're
that's the
tied?
highest number. No. You can count. 6, 8,
Oh, yes,
11,
I'm 16.
13, 14, 15. You have 16, you win!
Yes! It has been a long time. I won! I'm getting the hang of this game.
There you go.
Want to play again?
What would you give this game out of 10?
Probably a 7.
7. Okay.
You know, I like it as a play. Well, I liked it. Did we play this game with more than 2 people already?
Nope.
I wonder how that would be with more than 2 people.
Do you think it would be better or worse?
I'm thinking worse.
It would be a longer game, definitely.
Yeah, because I'm thinking every person has to think and there's not a lot of interaction with people.
It's true.
So it's more of, I like it as a 2-player game because we can actually think and play a little with,
You
it's a mind
can see
game.
what the other person across from you is probably going to do.
Yeah.
With 4, it's kind of chaotic.
Yeah, and I would think maybe a little bit slow.
Yeah.
Because everyone would have to think too much and
Yeah.
everyone else would get bored while they're thinking.
Okay.
But with a 2-player, I like it.
Alright, so that's how Splendor is played, but what do I think of it? What's my review? Well, personally, now again, it's a review, this is all subjective. I'm not the biggest fan of lighter games. I mean, they're okay once in a while, and to introduce people into the hobby that aren't too, that aren't interested in something like Power Grid or something like that, or to kind of round off a night or to start a night, something like that, okay. They have their place. So Splendor, as you saw, is a lighter game. But I actually do like this game more than a lot of light games because there's more choice. And really, choice is the biggest problem with most light games. They either don't have many choices or they offer the illusion of choice where it doesn't really matter. But Splendor kind of, there's... Again, I've only played it with 2 people, so I don't know how it all functions with more than that. But with 2, you can see all the options out there. You can use logic to really think out your strategy, and you can look over and see what the other person is doing. And, I feel like even with 2 players, and definitely probably with more, there's going to be that kind of element of multiplayer solitaire, where you're just kind of sitting there and you're doing your own thing, and you're not really concerned with what the other person is doing. Now, again, with 2 players, you can kind of concern yourself, but with more, I doubt it. So in that sense, I kind of feel like Dominion, where it's just like, here's my game, this is what I'm doing, and yeah, there are other people. You have to take them into account, especially with, you know, victory conditions and stuff like that. In fact, my second game against my mom, I was planning a much longer game than what it ended up being, and so she ended up winning because I didn't keep track of how many points she had. So you do have to keep in mind your opponents, but during most of the gameplay, it's just kind of like, well, I'm doing this, and okay, now you do your thing and do your thing, and we go back and forth. So there's that kind of multiplayer solitaire, but I do really like it as a kind of light filler game, because there's that element of choice, and you get to see your engine kind of grow and build up, and you're like, oh, you know, you start just low level buying these tier 1 cards, and then you build up tier 2 cards, and finally, oh, these huge tier 3 cards. I like that escalation. That's really cool. As for the actual components and stuff, really, really love the poker chips. This is definitely a big draw, just, you know, kind of feeling these things in your hands. It's, you know, this is part of why we love board games, is these physical things we can just hold and move around, and poker chips, these thick ones, these are really good. Definitely a plus. The cards are just, you know, regular cards, and then there's the kind of cardboard stock noble tiles. Okay. And then that's it. That's all the components. That's all the components. And I think most people have complained about that when it comes to Splendor, is this box is way too large. Now, they might be doing some kind of meta thing where it's about, you know, useless aesthetics like gems, and it's just, do we need a box this big? No, but it looks good. It's about what looks good. I don't know. They might be going for that, or they might just be trying to sell their game as something cool on the shelf. I don't know. Overall, I don't think the box size is a reason to not get the game. You know, it's kind of just like, it's still a solid game inside the box, and if you really need the space, yeah, you could switch it out for a smaller box or do something like that. But yeah, it's a bummer, but it's still a good game, and I recommend it. If you're looking for, you know, something a bit heavier than Love Letter, but still not as big as, I don't know, Game of Thrones. You know, somewhere, I wouldn't even call it medium weight in that sense, but it's a quality game for 2 to 4 people. It doesn't take too long and is not too complicated to understand. I would give it a solid 7.4 out of 10. Alright, so that is Splendor from Marc-Andre. This has been Board Mangging. I'll see you fine folks next time.